Ciao, sono Matteo, uno dei coordinatori del JUG Milano. Volevo parlarti brevemente di un'iniziativa importante. Anche quest'anno come JUG siamo impegnati a dare supporto a Voxed Days Milano, una conferenza del circuito DevOps organizzata da sviluppatori per altri sviluppatori che nel 2020 torna a Milano nella sua seconda edizione. Magari in questi giorni di festa stai già pensando e pianificando cosa vorrai realizzare l'anno nuovo, quindi ecco un ottimo proposito. Acquista subito un biglietto per Voxed Days Milano, vedrai che è un piccolo gesto ma che darà grandi frutti nell'anno nuovo. Approfittane subito perché l'early bird scade a breve, quindi voxeddays.com/Milan troverai le indicazioni scritte sotto per tutte le informazioni e quindi ci vediamo presto. Benvenuti all'incontro numero, mi sono dimenticato, 117 dovrebbe essere. Sì. Probabilmente l'ultimo prima di Natale. Siete in tanti, questo ci fa molto piacere. Abbiamo un illustre ospite questa sera, è un gentile sponsor che, come vedete, ci ha anche procurato pizza e bibite e birra per gli ospiti. Dopo ci saranno tutti i dettagli. Lascio brevemente la parola a Gianluca che vi racconta un attimo dove siamo. Poi abbiamo una breve introduzione dello sponsor, la parola allo sponsor e poi direttamente con il talk. Non vi rubo altri momenti, grazie.
Visto che ci saranno altri speech, cerco di essere breve. Solita domanda, chi ha già fatto la presentazione?
Il cagnolino no. Però.
Questa no. Questa è nuova. È abbastanza nuova questa. Per chi non ha pensato, piacere, mi chiamo Gianluca, faccio programmatore, così mi trovate su internet e adesso vi spiego cos'è sto spazio, che non è un coworking, è l'ufficio di un po' di aziende. La prima che vi cito è Mica Mai, fa sviluppo in ambito web per terzi, con tecnologie, quindi abbiamo alcune, quindi abbiamo altre, e qui dentro Mica Mai non lavora da sola, lavora con dei partner, una di queste è LinkMe, stesso lavoro ma tecnologie diverse. La terza azienda che vi cito che lavora qui è Jack Magma, fanno design, e l'ultima della famiglia è Noku, si è unita più o meno da un anno a Mica Mai, Jack e LinkMe e fanno digital marketing. Queste 4 aziende qui dentro durante il giorno lavorano, è molto molto banale. Da un po' di tempo, tipo da un po' di anni, hanno deciso di fare però una cosa, visto che la sera e il weekend il loro ufficio non lo usano, e visto che sanno che ci sono community a Milano, tipicamente tech, che hanno bisogno di uno spazio simile, hanno detto, sai cosa, sti cazzi, si può dire? Sì, speriamo. Diciamo, sti cazzi, diamo l'ufficio in forma gratuita, perché tanto noi la sera e il weekend non lo usiamo. Questa attività di supporto è seguita anche da Credimi, che non ha niente a che vedere con le aziende che vi ho detto, non lavora qui dentro, è l'azienda per cui lavoro io, e banalmente cosa fa? Mi permette di dare una mano alle community, quindi presta la mia figura a supporto. Perché si fa sta cosa? Perché ci piace. Posso dire per fortuna, perché non sono da solo a seguire le community, insieme a me ci sono anche Mara, Deborah di Mica Mai e Francesco di LinkMe. E lo sottolineo, come sempre, sì, lo facciamo perché ci piace. A me, Mara, Deborah e Francesco piace dare una mano. Sicuramente le aziende che offrono lo spazio hanno il ritorno di visibilità, perché ve le cito durante la presentazione, ma davvero a loro frega abbastanza poco della visibilità. Loro hanno questa risorsa, la sera se non la danno a disposizione sarebbe totalmente sprecata, quindi sai cosa? Cerchiamo di portare un po' di equilibrio e di dare una mano. La slide di ringraziamento per gli organizzatori, perché senza gli organizzatori, insomma, eventi simili non si potrebbero fare, ma in realtà anche e soprattutto ai partecipanti, perché esattamente come per gli organizzatori, se non ci fossero partecipanti, gli eventi, sai, non si potrebbero fare. Quindi, grazie. Qualunque informazione abbiate bisogno in merito alle community, potete scrivere qui. E qui invece, novità, in realtà non tanto perché il blog esiste da molto, comunque a blog.micamai.com potete vedere la lista dei prossimi eventi con un post per ciascuno, con una breve descrizione e il link all'iscrizione dell'evento. Fatto, presentazione fatta, passo la parola.
Mario, che
Vai Mario.
Allora, grazie di essere venuti numerosi per l'ultimo incontro del 2019. Thank you Victor for coming. Niente, due parole per dirvi solo che stiamo continuando con l'organizzazione del Voxed Days qui a Milano. Sarà il 16 maggio come vi avevo forse già detto. the call for paper of Voxed Days Milano is open, so I invite you, of course, to participate if you want. Thank you. I invite you, all of you, of course. Vi invito a partecipare alla call for paper se volete sottomettere un talk. La vendita dei biglietti aperti, i prezzi sono quelli dell'anno scorso, quindi 99 euro in early bird finché non verrà pubblicato il programma a fine gennaio. Questo è tutto. L'ultima cosa, se qualcuna delle vostre aziende fosse interessata a sponsorizzare, mettetevi in contatto con me e cerchiamo di capire come possiamo aiutarci a vicenda. Grazie mille.
Allora, la BMC Software, qualcuno conosce la BMC Software? No, forse conoscete. Bene, benissimo. Forse conoscete. Tu? Ah, benissimo. Non facciamo il Remedy, perché forse il Remedy a volte si sente. Facciamo un altro software. Benissimo. Come si vede dal nome, facciamo software. Principalmente su queste aree, Service Management, Automation, Operation. E in particolare il nostro team si occupa della Capacity Optimization. Facciamo abbiamo questo business case che deliveriamo sotto forma di 2 prodotti. Sotto forma SaaS con un brand chiamato Helix e un altro sotto forma on-prem, cioè installato verso il cliente con il brand TrueSight. Ma che cosa fa la Capacity Optimization? In generale la Capacity Optimization, non so, all'università, cioè a me era la parte diciamo esoterica dell'informatica, che praticamente che cosa fa? Serve per poter fare performance evaluation e capacity planning per esempio di una server farm, quindi serve per dimensionare i sistemi informatici. Quindi che cosa fa questo nostro software? Colleziona dati da tutti i tipologie di sistemi informatici, quindi database, storage, network, big data e so on, e ti cerca diciamo di aiutare nella creazione della tua diciamo server farm o della tua cloud e a ottimizzarla. Questo prodotto quindi, dato che viene utilizzato ovunque, perché serve per diciamo, gestire tutti questi server. E questo è il nostro, diciamo, un nostro cliente, questo è il deployment più grande che abbiamo e gestisce diciamo, questi numeri. Cioè stiamo dicendo 250.000 server, riesce a 2,5 miliardi di raw ingested per giorno, quindi stiamo parlando di numeri belli grossi. Per questo stiamo parlando di un'architettura totalmente verticale. E il nostro team, diciamo, ovviamente siamo a Milano, però è anche diciamo, in America e in India. Ci sono 3 Scrum in Italia, ci occupiamo principalmente di sviluppo, marketing, UX e support. Queste sono le tecnologie su quelle che vi interessano in generale. Per la parte back-end principalmente abbiamo Java, Java 8 per la parte diciamo, che fa valore, che crea valore alla nostra azienda, Java 11 per la parte un po' più nuova, come framework utilizziamo Spring, poi abbiamo un po' di Spring Cloud, quindi Fein, Ribbon e Zookeeper. Per quanto riguarda la parte front-end abbiamo AngularJS, per la parte nuova Angular 8 e per la parte diciamo, di deployment ovviamente il famosissimo Kubernetes con Rancher e utilizziamo Helm. Le tecnologie abbiamo introdotto negli ultimi 3 mesi, giusto per fare, non so se conosci le tecnologie radar di ThoughtWorks, sono Gib, Scaffold, Microfrontend e Container Scan, quindi siamo abbastanza, diciamo, ci stiamo evolvendo verso diciamo, le nuove tecnologie. E inoltre noi ci teniamo abbastanza, al training, abbiamo fatto oggi il primo giorno di training con Victor, che adesso lascio la parola e... niente. Grande.
Hi everyone. Good to be here. First time in Milano for business purposes. So that's why I do all this stuff, and also to learn and to play, of course. Good. So functional design patterns with this is what they say. So this I should be talking about. Let's start slow with something very easy. So, how many of you are using Java 8? But many, I mean, really using Java 8. Okay, good. Okay. You will see a lot of weird things today, right? First things first, let's first define this method, let's say public, that returns a list of user of user DTO. DTO because it's a data transfer object, and I will say get all users, and then I will say I will need here a user repo, right? This user repo, let's make it a field of type user repo, of course. User repo, and then the Spring team will cry and say, okay, well, we need final here. Okay, good, make a constructor. Even better, why not? Let's do this, right? So, no more constructor for us. Lombok, the constructor is in bytecode, but not in code. Hidden for us is nice and easy. And user repo dot find all, and then on what it returns you, this, if you are curious, this returns you a list of users. Now, on this list, I will need to do further a for. Let's make a for and iterate over all users. Now, for each time, I will instantiate a new user DTO, good, and make it a variable named DTO very wisely. And then DTO.set username, taking directly from the user, get username. And then DTO.set full name, and then full name is tricky because I have to concatenate user get first name plus space, you know the drill, right? We've all done that for years and years. User that get last name uppercase, okay? Do you know the game named Code Golf? The game named Code Golf goes like this. Who solves the problem in least keystrokes? You dot get last name, enter, dot upper. Just in 5 keystrokes, I'm done, okay? To end the statement, which is not yet complete, even if it's not complete, to end the statement, Control-Shift-Enter, and finishes completely. And then DTO, I was on Eclipse. Can you please scroll up? Sure. I was on Eclipse for 13 years. I switched to IntelliJ. Set active. And then user dot, it's active in case the deactivation date is null, right? And then I need to add to a list of DTOs. So DTO dot add this new DTO. Good. But who is this? I need to create a local variable, not a list of user DTOs. Good. Which of course needs to be outside of the list, and this is Java 7 style. Equals new, and then that's new array list. Good. And at the end, return DTOs. Good. This is a code that you will write over and over again in our enterprise information systems. Okay, this is a disguise for saying stupid boiler, not boiler. You get the point. And you will type this over and over again in all sorts of situations, the same idiomatic code. So then the principle is not to repeat yourself, not only the code, the literal code, but the style of coding. So then you would like to extract, because this, you will always have a list of DTOs. You will always iterate over the list. You will always add to the list and return the list. So we will extract only what is special about this, which is this part. And you'll make a method out of this. And you will name it very wise to DTO of a user, right? Good. In which case, this is useless, this variable. I will inline the variable. You get the point. I'm a refactoring maniac, and the people that I've done today, they know that. And then clicking on the for, you do know that you can do collect. Again, for collect. Well, cool. It replaces everything for me, just nice and easy. Just random homework for tomorrow. Click randomly in code and press Alt-Enter. See what happens. It's really useful. No, don't laugh. Just do it. Just trust me. Okay, and this is a useless. This variable is yellow because it can be inlined. So inline, good. But now, this is one interesting way of doing things. But of course, you could let me just inline this all. But this is bad, my friends. You should do so, folks. If I select this token and I press Control-Shift-F, meaning find everywhere, right? Let me try. There should be 0 matches. You should never find this token in your code base. Why? This token is actually a poor soul, an anonymous function crying for a name. You know? It's just there, sad. It's a bunch of code without a head. You know, it's logic without a head. Imagine a function. What the? So no, so you don't have to think. Just extract everything. Control-W, select the whole block, take it out into DTO. Very nicely. And then, of course, if you write this, IntelliJ will say, you don't know Java 8 too much. Apparently, you don't need to do return. It's this. And actually, even more, you can replace it with method reference. Good. But every now and then, the transformation is so easy that you can actually, so the key point here is that you don't need any external service to do the conversion. Based on the data of the user, you will create a user DTO. So what can you do? You could say return new user DTO of a user and push all the conversion inside the constructor of that DTO. Let me try to do that. So it's red. When it's red, yellow, blue, or gray, Alt-Enter will serve your day. That's poetry, my friends. This is poetry, clean code. Look, so Alt-Enter. When it's red, yellow, blue, or gray, Alt-Enter will save your day. Now, to be correct politically, I will add these two also. Right? For those of you on other, but it is correct politically. Yeah, good. So if it's red, I don't need to think. Don't think when it's red. Just Alt-Enter, and then you think. And then you think, what should I do? Interesting. Create constructor. Let's try that one. A constructor with this, in which I will paste this, and then I will use the magic stuff, meaning Alt-J, multiple cursors, and then this, and then there you go. It's a bit stupid to call your own getters. You do that only if you're a narcissist or something. So just this, and this. And then, you guess what? These are redundant, Alt-J, there you go. So this means to push the conversion inside the constructor of the DTO, which is fine. It's okay for the DTO to depend on the entity. God forbid, not the other way around. DTOs can depend on the holy stuff, on the entities, but not the other way around, of course. Now, if you do this, this method, it's kind of silly. I mean, what's the purpose of this method anymore, right? I mean, whoa, what the heck? So let's inline it, right? Inline the method here, in which place it will be yellow again. So don't think, Alt-Enter, method reference. Yeah, what the heck is this, right? It means that your reference is basically the constructor is a function that takes the user and gives you back the instance, the new instance, okay? So there you go, the method referencing of a constructor, which is pretty cool. Now, we've seen a whole bunch of different ways of doing these method references. So I will do the best thing that you should be doing more often, which is control 0. Control 0 comes from undo. It takes a lot of strength, of psychological strength, to admit that you've screwed it up, that you did a bad, that the code is worse at the beginning. So I will undo. You should undo 10 times per day. It's healthy. It's healthy. Just right. And undo. And there you go. And this is the method. And let me undo once more. Okay, good. And there you go. Good. And then this conversion, if it piles up this facade, at some point it will annoy me. That's when I will move it out to another class. Right? Let's name it user, very wisely, user mapper. Huh? Excellent. User mapper, and I will move this out. Good. And then, of course, if you make this a public class, IntelliJ will complain, don't you want to make it to a separate file, please? And you will enter and move it. So it's easy to extract and just work in a single file. I find it more fast. Just in one file, move things together. When you're done, out. You know, just public, Alt-Enter, out. Know the tool. User mapper, and then I will need somehow here a private final user mapper. And then the question is, where do I get the function from? Well, this should be public for sure. But then it's interesting, where is the function? Is actually, you could write the slow motion stuff. Giving a user, you could go to mapper and do 2DTO, but then IntelliJ will tell you, you don't know Java that much, do you? Alt-Enter, sorry, wrong Alt-Enter, again, Alt-Enter here. I did something wrong. I should pass the user first, make it compile, and then Alt-Enter, enter. There you go. Nice. I'm not sure if Control-Shift-Space will work here. 2DTO. Nah, doesn't work. But anyway, mapper 2DTO. So this is another way of referencing a method, an instance method of another, let's pretend to be a service, right? You can inject it very nicely like this, and then there you go. You can reference a method of an existing Spring Bean. Super powerful. I have dozens of such examples in my production code. Because it's very convenient to go fish. You inject an instance, and then you go fish several methods from that instance. Those methods could call down some repository stuff, okay? So you can play with the functions and further. However, since we got here, it's okay to. So actually, I will tell you that later. This is the first example. After this first example, you feel like, oh, you're strong. So the next thing you do, you exaggerate. You come to work and you want to prove that you know Java 8. You have to prove to your colleagues that you know Java 8, but they will have your head. They will have your head on a plate. This is your head. So the problem here is, the problem is obvious. What the heck is happening? Okay, orders.stream. It begins easy, but then filter. Creation date is after local date now, minus year. So okay. This is actually, my friends, this is last year. Oh, what the heck is this? But just moving it up, you're done. And then Alt-Enter, you will save your day. Good. O, get order lines. I am concatenating all the order lines together in one single big bucket. You see that this is a stream of order line, no more order for you. And then I will group by product summing int, and here comes the fun part, entry set stream. Actually, the fun part is these 3 lines. If you ever see these 3 lines, take a walk, take a shower, slap your head, and what this does is, like, imagine you have this pick, you know, and you put this bucket, and in the bucket you make a hole and pick down. What the heck are you doing? Why won't you collect everything? Because you are collecting everything, actually, right? So this is a missing opportunity to explain what the heck is the result of this method. So click here, variable, Control-Alt-V, selects the syntactic block which ends there, and say, what are these actually? These are, so I'm collecting grouping by product of the order, and you know when you place an order, you can order 3 tables and 1 chair, right? These are actually 2 lines, 2 order lines. And then basically you were grouped by the product and sum the number of times you've ordered each product. So this is actually product order counts. Let's say order counts. There you go. And then from that map, so whenever you get the point in which you can collect into a collection, do it. Do it and explain what you have here. There are famous cases in which you can't do that. If you are streaming from the database with over 1 billion rows, you can't just collect everything, of course. You will be forced to stream. That's the reality. But whenever you can, do it. Entry set stream. Okay. Filter E arrow, get value more than 10. Business requirement. Okay. Map, and then you take the key out of it. Very interesting. And then you filter not to be deleted. Oh, wait a second. I can write it even more elegant. How? By the way, who knows Lombok? Oh, a few of you. This is equivalent of so let me just quickly show what this does really. This technically does a getter for the ton. Wait. Get, not the key. What? Get, no. Where are you? Private long get is deleted. And then set, and then set, and then also, of course, you can't leave without a hash code equals. You just can't leave. And of course, a toString. So now, the question is very simple. What do you prefer? Do you prefer this? Or just 2 lines? Now, folks, if you are going to functional programming in more depth in Java, you will eventually want to use data structures. And basically, data gives it for free to you. But again, Lombok is a 2-way sword. Sometimes it's a tool too powerful for many teams. If you don't know design, if you don't know OOP, if you don't know what you are trying to achieve, and if you start putting data on your entities, this is game over, you lose. So pay attention with Lombok, and don't go for all the experimental features. Don't use val. Please don't use val. If you are that angry on Java, go to Kotlin. Or Scala, even better. But yes. Okay, so basically this is deleted, is hidden somewhere there below, but look what I can do. Yes, I can do something interesting. I can define a public boolean. Guess what? It's not deleted. Excellent. Guess what it returns? Not deleted. Excellent. But this has to be a method. Okay, so then if I do this, what can I can use it instead. And then if you press enter, it's a mess. But if you press tab, woohoo! This one saves lives, my friends. Tab, yes! And then it's yellow. Alt enter. There you go. Nicely done. Referencing a product, a predicate built inside the entities. Super useful with Java 8 to have these little predicates spread over your entity model. But then comes the horror part, because you realize something. Here, my friends, what the heck is this? What the heck is this? It's a method on the repository. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. What the heck happens? What the heck happens here, my friends? This lambda is executed how many times? For each and every, this is the famous n+1 queries, in which you run an expensive operation in a loop. It's not visible because it's not a for, but it's there, okay? And this will make those SQL queries that you see identical in your log, right? So then what could you do? Well, I know. Let me extract this one, this, to a predicate. Done. Did I solve the problem? No. I'm keeping a function. This is a bad name for the, wait a second, I've overridden the predicate. I'm keeping in a predicate a function. Okay? This is something weird in Java. It's just a function. It's never called unless I use it here, and it will be called for it. So I didn't do anything good, actually. So what should I do instead is to run the query once before I loop, and I make it a variable. Come on, variable. Hidden product IDs, very well. It extracted it there, but no worries. I can move lines away. And this is grayed out, so there you go. So hidden product IDs now happens just once. Pay attention here of issuing queries in the loop, because somehow by some method you go to the database. Pay attention, very. It's not that visible anymore. Sometimes it's harder to detect. So that's a bit better, but then I can do even more. I can extract all these to a method, which is something I do 10 to 20 times per day, extract methods. And I will name this get product, but not get maybe, get product counts. If I do this with a method, I will explain even better, because you see, this method has more than 5 lines. Sorry. So I will get it out. Look. There you go, refactor. In which case this one is no longer needed. I will inline it, which is quite good. Now we can tweak it more. One idea would be to take this one. Now this is a tricky point. There are opinionated ideas here. One would be to take this, and this is actually the product, if you look careful, which were ordered more than 10 times. Okay, let's make it a variable. Okay, frequent products. Now, some people, when they see a variable of type stream, they have because it's weird, especially if you pass around that stream to many methods. You don't know who the heck, if it's consumed or not. It's a mess. So that's why you need to ask: do you really want to stream like, or could you collect to list? Doesn't matter. I know. I have to do this first, and then here .ctl. Enter. Excellent. Okay. In which place this is not used, Alt Enter makes the products. Actually, this is frequent products. Okay. Now I know that I am streaming again from the collection, but I'm not afraid to do that. What I gained is a variable which explains in a collection. Now, human brains works better with collections. It's a collection of products. A stream, what the heck is that? It's a stream of blah. Okay, so it's easier to read. And now you can even make a method out of it. Get frequent products. Frequent products. There you go. And inline this. Good. So you see how I juggle. I extract things. I make variables. I make methods. I give names to stuff. I make new predicates on the entities that I work with. Things that I juggle with. Okay. Now some people even go further and say, okay, let's extract this. What does this mean, really? Variable. Product, not hidden. I feel I have awkward feelings about this, honestly. I'm not entirely convinced it's a good idea, but it could explain a bit better your code. A bit better. I'm not sure. This is your call. I'm showing stuff, okay? Good. Makes sense? Makes sense? Good. Next one. Do you know Tony Hoare, the so-called Sir Charles Anthony Richard? Sir Charles Anthony. He's a sir. What did he do good in this world? Let's read. I call it my $1 billion mistake. It was the invention of the null reference in 1965. He invented null. Okay. Okay, so let's wash away the problem that he introduced. Let's say, so we have this class, discount service, which has a method public string get applicable, no, get discount string, which takes, I'm not sure about this, a customer, yes, a customer. Control Shift Enter will just scroll up, just to be Shift Enter. Ha! Again, I was there, I don't care where. Control Shift Enter finishes the statement, interesting stuff. And then I will say something like return discount percentage equals, or like that, plus get discount of customer dot get member card. Now, this method I will create F2 Alt Enter Enter, and I will do card is shorter, and then I have these business rules I have to implement. If and only if, where are the tests? I should have tests here. If card dot get fidelity points more than 5, no, more than 50, let's make 50. Then what? Return 3%, no, 5% reduction. And this is not a string, this is an int, my friends. Okay? And then else, if card get fidelity points are not more than 50 but more than 10, return 3%. Otherwise, return null. Null. This is your code to write. Another developer wrote this. That's your code. So, null. Okay. And then let's make a main. And in the main, I will say something like new discount service dot. Well, I want to get the discount string for a new member card, which has a new, a new customer, sorry, which has a new member card with exactly 60. Or not 60, but 60 is too easy. 20 fidelity points. Okay, and this thing I want to print another beautiful stuff. .s out, and then system out there. Nice. Okay, extract this as a variable. Name it D. Very wisely. Good. And then run it. Control Shift F10. There you go. Let's see what prints. Yes. 3%. Bingo. You'll have to believe me. Let me just, it's moved to, I never get this right. It is right up, yeah, there you go. Good, now, I will hit. And then let's add one more test case, which is giving it exactly 5 points. 5 points. What should I see? What? A null. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a null. And this is you explaining to the business, my dear business, this is a null. You don't know the null. Null is what we do at work. It's null. Null. Okay, so then what's the problem? You rush to find the problem, and one key technique here: select the constant string in the console like this. Control Shift F directly takes you to the point enter, and it gets you to where the disease comes from. So what's wrong? Oh, this was returned null. Oh my God, what should I do? Let's make this a variable named D, and then if, you know it, if D equals null. Now, if it's not equal null, then return this beauty here. Okay. Else return the beloved empty string. Excellent. And the business sees nothing. It's better than null, but nothing. Good. Yes. But then you walk the open space, not a beautiful place here, but and you hear in some corner, some people here were talking that optional, whenever you see null, use optional. And you start wondering, what the heck should I, why did I saw null there? And then you figure out, wait, I didn't knew that this method would give me a null. And I was concatenating the null blindly to the string. This is where the null came from. At which moment you realize, wait a second, I know. I should return here what? An optional. as a rule of thumb, whenever you are returning nothing to your caller, don't be rude and give it a null, because he might not expect that null. But instead, return an optional of something. And now, this is pretty straightforward. What I was completely puzzled when I showed this to some teams were that they left null here. Now, this is completely outrageous. This you should be cut into pieces and thrown to the sharks. I mean, how the heck do you return a null? Now, this is betrayal. No, empty, folks. Of course. Good. And now you have a problem. But that's good. You have a problem. It's not an integer. It's not an integer. And what do? You make this variable to be an optional, and you replace this to be if it's present. Perfect. Perfect. Excellent. Oops. Now we have a problem. D is no longer an integer, it's an optional of integer. And then what do? Well, I know, get. But this time, even a tool will figure out you are a fool. Because it will ask you, should I replace this with a functional style? Yes, please. What the heck? Oh, interesting. Exactly what I wanted to do. Excellent. I couldn't have said it better. Thank you. And then D, it's no longer needed. I will inline it, enter here. And there you go. This is the function that does very nicely. What happens really, this one gives you a box. Not an integer, a box, which makes you wonder, what is inside? Is it a cat or not? Schrodinger's cat, the box. Yeah. And you start thinking. That's the good, because then you can map, and which means the map somehow corresponds to you putting your hands inside the box with a spray and spraying in red everything. If there was a cat, now it's a red cat. If there was nothing, it's nothing now. Okay. So basically, this is map or an optional transforms the content if there is a content. Good. Otherwise, then it returns nothing. Good. But then comes the ultimate test, which is discount a customer with no member card. Run. And do you know Chris de Burgh? Chris de Burgh had one song, Lady in Red. This is it. And your breath, you are lost for words. You're like, that's the feeling, and in great shame, you run desperately to fix the problem. You click here, and you see that this line throws null pointer. Of course it throws null pointer. This is null. So then what do? You do what you know best. You put an if. If card equals null, you mother, you return null. Nah, not null. Oops, my bad, sorry. Empty. Good. 3. Perfect. Excellent. But then, you think a bit, and you go to that corner where some geeks are working, and they're saying that you should, every time you see null, and there is null. And then comes this thought to you, why am I doing this? This is called, my friend, this is called defensive programming. Right? Equals terror. But the problem is that this thing that you got might come null. So then, what can you do? There is a saying that the best defense is the offense. So what do? You start thinking, where does this came from? Here. And now, my friend, something incredible. You will touch the holy things. This is the holy domain grenade. Model. So here you will come and you will say, because this is really interesting. We will talk tomorrow in the clinical. When null has a meaning, it should be wrapped safely in an optional, even when it comes from an entity. So what I mean is make here optional. Whenever something might come null to you, always, and you won't set the field to optional, hibernate or whatever, you won't be very happy, but you will say off nullable. And you bridge the gap between the null world, your API will return this to your colors, which might extinguish the null, which is incredible. But then this doesn't compile. What do? You will use the key technique for any senior, which is alt-driven development. Alt-enter. Alt-enter. Fixed. What happened? No, I started the wrong one. Change first parameter of method to take an optional. Oh my God, what the heck is this? Oh my God, what the heck is this? Even IntelliJ complains that you should not use optional as a parameter. Why? Because this shouts out loud that your function does two things. One for the empty case, one for the non-empty case, right? I know I can make it work. I know I can fix it in the end. I can fix it. I mean, I can really do it. But this is not the way to go, right? This is not the way to go. It will eventually work, but it's wrong. It's completely wrong. So then what could you do? I'm not sure if it suggests anything. No, it doesn't. It's too hard for IntelliJ. So then what can be done? Now, the point is whenever you have an optional, you should always consider starting with the optional. Oh, starting with it. So suddenly, get member card is no longer giving me a member card, but an optional of member card. So let's start with that one. Dot. If there is a member card, I mean map, based on the card, then apply the get discount on that card. Oh my God, apply on that. And no longer optional, just plain member card. So don't take optionals, instead map to them from the exterior. And then map further, and this is what you should return. Now, of course, IntelliJ also, okay, thank you. And there you go, this is what you should, but this is perfect, right? It looks perfect, perfect. It's done. Oh, sorry. The problem is that the integer now is an optional of integer. It's not an integer anymore. And then you notice the beauty. Oh. If in any night in the winter that comes, you have a long night next to a fireplace with a cat in your lap, read about monads. I won't talk to you about monads today. I will just silently say here, flat map, see that it works, and move on. I won't do this with you today, but it works. The problem is the flat map strips one of the extra wrapping, right? Just flat map from streams, you know that, but flat map from optionals gives away one of the wrapping. That's not a big deal, really, but you have to know about this function. Now, technically, I will go further with you today. Do you know that model that you have, class A, which has a private BB, which then has a getter for it, and then you have a class B that obviously has a class C in the side with a getter for C, then C. And what you want to do is actually get from an A to a C. And you know that classic scenario, you have an A, and you have A dot get B, get C, the so-called train wreck. One of these might be null, this or this. Who knows which one? So this is a place where if you switch to optionals and you make all of them return optional, let's try this, why not? I think I can fix this. Let me check how we can do it. Yeah, Alt J here, there you go. And optional of C or B. I don't care exactly what rapid optional. It's good enough. Rapid optional. The first time I do this, honestly. And then this get B thing will get you an optional that you can then flat map using how do you call it? B. I think it works. B dot get C. And what you get back in the end, let's instantiate it here, is actually an option of C. Interesting. And in case you wanted to toString C, you would write toString. Then I will write here map and do toString from objects. What the heck, right? And this gives him back an optional of string. But I don't want that. I want actually to or else nothing, which gives me the string. Now, this is a type-safe way of navigating a model, not type-safe, null-safe way of navigating a model, right? It's what? Whoa! But the point is, you can get rid of the null from this chain. You've all seen such things breaking somewhere in between. You don't know where, and we did that. I called this adoption of optional inside your getters of your entity, I call it game one. This is game one against null. Because the last place in which nulls will come to you is your own entity model, right? Have you ever heard of non-null? No, not this one. Not null. Not this one. Nullable. It isn't this one. It's from Spring. Not null API. Super cool. With Spring Data GPA ensures you never get a null from the Spring Data repositories. Super cool. Okay. So null frameworks killed the null, but you still have nulls in your own entity model. So, folks, this is the ultimate. I call it the ultimate level of adoption of Java 8. If you do this, the null is out of your business. Right? But there is also here the beautiful example. One more example. Super interesting. So let's say I want to build this class order exporter, which I will need the order repo for sure. So private final order repo, and then let's use magic to inject the dependency. And then you need to have public void export order CSV. There you go, with a string file name, and in which you do what? You need to open a file, of course, with the file name. And then if you know how to write your code, you know that you should never write variables because Alt, Enter, Enter. Okay, good. And then I should try and open a new file writer of that file, whatever file. And then this is a writer. I should make a file. I'm not sure if it works here, honestly. Okay, and then this is a try with resources, F2 Alt Enter. I have a colleague which annoys me very much. He doesn't use the mouse. He doesn't use the mouse at all. It puts it like this in front of me. Like it works. It does Control E a lot. I'm so angry. But anyway, this throws. So throw yourself, but not that. Let me throw it out. Where do you do it? Out. There you go. Good. And now in this writer, you should write, but yeah, a line. Let's write a line. The first is, let's say, username and the full name, which is a CSV. Remember, right? And then we do on the order repo, we will say find by active true, which gives us a stream. Interesting. Why? Because there are 1 million of them, right? And we love Spring Data. Who of you is using Spring Data GPA? Spring Data GPA? No one. Then where are you persisting? Are you persisting? Okay. You guys don't know, Cassandra stuff, yeah. Who is on NoSQL-ish stuff? So the rest of you are doing Swing applications. Where are you persisting data? To what? To a file? No, really. To what? What kind of a database? So again, who is on relational database? Relational. We love relations. Oh, everyone. But not on Hibernate, right? Yeah. Oh, hardcore stuff. GDBC. Yeah, okay, good. Anyway, in case you are using this, this gives you a stream, and then you will map converting each order to a beautiful o.get ID because that's the username, and then plus, and then this, and then o.get creation date, not full name, creation date. Anyway. Good, and there you go. And then you have a stream of strings that you have, each of them so it's a for each. Each of them you have to write to the writer. So given a string, I will say writer dot write string. Okay, I know what you're thinking, I'm missing an enter. Right, I'm missing an enter, so this will trash my whole demo because the enter is critical. I can't. Okay, good. And this will write a string, right? Perfect, I'm done. Oops, it doesn't compile. What? Alt enter, right? What the heck is this? It's try catching and throwing again because what? Because for each takes a consumer which doesn't throw anything. But my write throws. The point is, this method uses checked exception. You should suffer if you are using checked exception. It's good to suffer, but this case you don't control the API, right? So that's why you have another option actually. Unchecked from Joule, I think it's Vavr now, not sure. that consumer, which technically does exactly what you just did, but this is a bit weird to write, but this is, I think, the form, which makes 4 dots. And if we import this one, God have mercy on your soul. What the heck is this? This, my friends, is something you should never show to your children. It's a function that takes a function and returns a function. What the heck? It's a higher order function of the ugliest kind. You should avoid writing such functions yourself. Trust me, I've been debugging such functions for years, and it's a mess. If you go to debug mode, you're doomed. Because returning functions, if you don't step in to step out, you will go like this to the code. Pam, 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 it's a mess. So taking function as a parameter is okay, but returning functions, that's another game. That's another game. And Java, honestly, is not prepared for such a game, in my opinion. So still, this is a library, it's safe to use, it's pretty well known, so okay, why not? But then comes the change request, of course. Every story finishes with a change request, right? That's the reality. And the change request says that I want to export the users in the same way. In the same way. And same way in your head means copy-paste. So export user CSV, just for fun, just to see what we change, right? I will need to import some things like user repository user repo, okay? And then of course I will stream from user repository find all, and then I need to open the stream because this doesn't return me a stream. Thank you. And then I will map, and this is no longer what a big mistake. You get ID. If I keep writing down, tell me to raise the screen. If I keep forgetting. And you get the username. There you go. And then you got what? Just export user, okay? And you get last name. Why not? Good. And this is username and last name. I think I did something wrong here. This is ID, not username. I messed it up. But you changed this line and this line. The rest is the same. You think, and actually it makes it more interesting, because you see, in the beginning, you don't just try miseries out. No, it's bad practice, right? What you do is you are a man. You can handle it. Throw. No, the first thing you do when you catch an exception, the first thing you do, you log it. You never know. You never try. Don't trust your colleagues to log it correctly. No. Terror-driven development. Logging. And you print E, got message. Whoa, what the heck? Anyway, E. And then you throw again. But you throw it in a nicer way, in a runtime exception of E, right? Better, a lot better. But now, what you did after you copy-pasted code is that you changed this block. The exterior block remains identical. This is also the same, always the same, always the same. So then what can you do? There are 7 or 6 possibilities to implement it. I will show you the functional one, right? At the moment you realize that this is what you need to actually do, you will keep this close to you, safe to you, in a safe place. And of course, delete the copy-pasted code, right? This is a key technique. Duplicate the code a bit, see what changes, take what changed, take it out, and then see how you fit it in. Then, this changes directly for the Java 8 solution. What can you do? Ideas. This is variable from one use case to another. What can you do? What can you do? And please don't tell me, please don't tell me about booleans. Is user export. Please don't tell me about booleans. You can extract, not the mapping function. The point is, this is also different, you see? So I would actually, yeah, that's one thing, but you also need the header there. So why not be more generous and extract what?
The resource?
All that I do with the resource. All that I do with the resource. With the resource. So I will take this out, and first step is to extract this in a method. I will name it F. Excellent. And then this F takes a writer and returns void. If I would like to get here F as a parameter, what should I write? What function takes a writer and returns nothing back? Consumer. Consumer is like a sink. You throw at it and it just disappears. Consumer over writer, interesting, which is actually the so-called content writer. Nice. This content writer has the same signature, so technically speaking, you will just invoke it with the writer. Nice. But then comes this is when you have an epiphany, like, whoa, wait a second. This is just export stuff. Should I end the class here and create another one, which is something like order class, order export content writer? Interesting, interesting. To host only the specific stuff, which is specific to exporting the orders. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This becomes interesting. It smells like design. I don't think so. Design? Can we do design with functional programming? We don't just do filter flat, my filter flat. No, we can do design. Design, my friends, design. Main. Let's play with it. New order exporter. Exporter. Not order exporter is wrong. It is the CSV export or file export, whatever. Good. And then on the end of this exporter, we have, but not order CSV. As you read it, you refactor it. You don't think, it's 1 second effort. Right? CSV, and then you give it, what's that? This is the first one was a what? A order. Orders CSV. And then you pass in what? New space control. But this is stupid. This is stupid. What the heck is this? No, not this one. Just what should you give here? That's the interesting part. Well, you need somehow to reference this function, right? Well, let's try to do this. So I will need first, this is an instance method. To reference an instance method in a normal way, you should do this. This is the order content, let's say. And then from the order content, you can for dot. I missed something. I missed something. Private? Oh, let's make it public. And I will for dot f. And it doesn't compile. Just a second. Here, I will need here an order repo. But why do I take an order repo? I'm pretending to use Spring, but I'm not using Spring. Let me just switch to that. Just give up this pretending. And I will just put here auto-wired. Okay, that's it. I will pretend to use auto-wire. No, just pretend. No? And then here it doesn't compile. Why? Can you see why? Without looking at the error. Which is a good exercise. Always try to anticipate the error. Exception. And then I will do something wrong. Very wrong. Very wrong. I will delete the throws from here. I know that you can do this and wrap it with a try catch. I know, but it's so ugly. So then what do you do? What the heck is that? And wait. This is the second level Lombok, I call it. It adds a try catch, it catches everything, and rethrows it at runtime. Right? Avoid you doing try catches and rethrow, it does it for you automatically, right? In the bytecode that you have on the disk, there will be the try catch. Good. A second, I have a problem with my okay. And then file writer W. Good. ID and creation date. Nice. This not hides, rethrows the exception as runtime to play nice with the function and programming. You were wondering what the heck happens with my screen. Yeah, huh? It's getting dark. With sleep, I have a problem with sleep and dark night. Yeah. And then here, this actually, F, what it doesn't yet work yesterday. Incompatible types. Writer is not convertible to file writer. I didn't pay attention. I should have a writer here, which is actually a better design. Let me take you there slowly. First of all, this is the main. It's clear for everyone, right? If I would like to export the other type of data, I will probably create another class, which is user export content writer, right? I'm just curious if I still have the photo of Mario. Yes. I show it to everyone, Mario. Really. Thanks. Brilliant. If you don't know what name to put to a variable, put such a name. You will be ashamed to push it on Git. But were you really there, or just found it and connect the ideas? Okay. But, whoa! I mean, how can you pronounce it? You will be ashamed to push on Git. Okay? And now user export content writer, and then you say this, and you will actually have to inject this. We'll pretend this string here, and then we will have this other f. Really, f. As you see it, you say write content. Don't think, just. And then let's just copy. It's too easy to copy paste, right? And then remove the content. Put this in place. And there you go, you're almost done, except the exception. And yeah, I don't know who put this here. Okay, so then you want to export now, this time, the user, new user export content writer. This is user content, and then, come on, user content. And then user content dot write content. That's it. Writer, don't think, rename. When you see a typo, don't hesitate. Don't ever hesitate. It takes 1 second, right? Good. And this is a big mistake. This is actually users. Now, let's come back to the design part. What the heck happened? Now, tell me one thing. How would you test this? Okay, test. You know, that thing that you don't have, tests, unit tests. How would you test this thing? Honestly, how would you test this thing? Maybe just, I don't know, pretend, just pretend. Public, you are smart guys, you can figure out the missing pieces. Public void test writer. How would you test this, really? Probably you will need to instantiate the class, blah, blah, blah. But then what would you do? You will call the method with what? With some file. Okay, and what would you do here? You will probably write a dummy content and then assert that on the disk appeared this dummy content. Make sense? And of course, you need a consumer. 2 times control space, and you have, but it's consumer unchecked. Where the heck are you? Unchecked B consumer double long. What is wrong with you? The first one was? Of course it was the first one. Of course it was. I'm really curious. Did they really implement the artificial intelligence to suggest? This is what I heard. Anyway, consumer and then good. Now this is an evil kind of test. You need to go to the disk. Where is the real thing that you need to test? Here, nicely isolated from anything that has to do with resources. Why? How would you test this one? Let me play with you. Test, and then. Actually, I have this test. Okay, X, and then how would you test this? You will have to instantiate new order export content writer, and this is system under test. What a terrible name. Set and then set and then not X but write content. Now, how would you test this one? You would pass in what? A string writer. Nicely done. What is a string writer? It's a kind of writer which writes to a string. Brilliant. Huh? And after you call the production code, you have string writer dot to string, and you get the actual value back that you compare to something that you expect. The point is there are no files in the play. There are nothing with file system, nothing. It's all in memory. So this kind of refactoring, decouple, this is called the loan pattern. Why? Because technically you are loaned a resource which you don't have the trouble of opening and closing and blah, 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 blah. You just are loaned a writer, you just blindly write to the writer, and that's it. You never have to concern yourself with anything else, right? Which is super interesting. It's more testable, right? Now, what happened? We tried technically to apply the clean code rules, the old clean code rules in Java 8. Names. We, the clean code maniacs, love names. But basically, since I got here, I forgot to introduce myself. Yeah, how much time do I still have? 10 minutes, something? I know it's the end, and people normally introduce themselves at the beginning, but never mind, it's late, I forgot. You forgive me. And it's a question, really. What do you do when something annoys you very much, but you cannot avoid doing it? But don't tell them. What do you do? what do humans do? They leave it for tomorrow. Who knows if tomorrow it will still be needed, right? And tomorrow they become managers or leads or bosses. What do they do then? If you're a boss with a hard problem, you are delegated, of course. But it's not very productive. What you should do instead is to do it more often, to bring the pain forward. Bring the pain forward is the philosophy behind extreme programming. Extreme programming doesn't mean, who knows about extreme programming? Extreme. Good. Now, for those of you who don't know, extreme programming doesn't mean you will go paragliding while coding. No. Extreme programming means to be a professional. And the 4 things which annoys us most in life are: if you are on your own branch for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, you already smell the merge. After the merge comes the code review, the so-called don't wait for the inevitable, okay? Ask for help. Ask for the senior to help you, but prepare his ground, meaning draw on the window, explain the problem visually at first. Do a little presentation for this. I know the seniors are super busy. Do a little presentation, 2 slides with your problem, okay? Pair programming, ask for help. Know when to ask for help and step on your pride. Continuous refactoring, because otherwise you know where it leads us. It leads us to our production code. So continuous refactoring, you should be proud of every pull request you submit, proud of the code that you write. When was the last time you were proud of something that you did at work? You should feel this at least weekly, daily if possible, right? Be proud of your work. And the fourth and most terrible thing of all is code that you don't have automated tests on. No matter what else, if you are afraid of touching the code, it is the end. So what do they say? Don't wait for the test sprint. Unit test sprint. There is no such a thing. Don't wait. Don't do post-its. Don't write separate post-its. Implementation, refactoring, testing. No, because business will come and will take the testing post-it off your flip chart. So no, do them together. Even first, try to write tests first, or at least when you push, to push them together, right? Now, the problem is that Agile lost its original meaning. Initially, Agile doesn't mean you will run fast, right? There are actually people back then who in that cabin that today are somehow how to put it? They regret the name they chose in a way, because when we say Agile to the business, it sees this. It sees lunch. It can throw features of you, of course, with a fixed deadline. Right? And the deadline, the fact is, deadline in dictionary means the line between, around the prison, that if you pass over, you get shot without warning. Right? That you get shot. Right? That's the first meaning of the deadline in the dictionary. Right? The second one has to do with time. So software craftsmanship is a movement who tries to resuscitate those 4 practices: TDD, pair programming, continuous refactoring. And technically speaking, I swear I will never push code without refactoring. I swear I will write tests. I swear I will never harm another human being. Hippocrates, huh? Oh, so, yeah. I'm Victor, okay, the second Java champion in Romania. I'm an internal coach at IBM, moving from team to team. And I am still in IBM because I have my own legacy there. I love my own legacy. It's my own garbage. It's so beautiful. So pair programming every day, every day. I never wrote code alone in production for the past 11 months or even 1 year, I don't recall exactly. Refactoring every time. You saw how we refactor. You are with your hands in code. Whenever you see something wrong, shift F6. I founded this community in Bucharest. We are now 1,100 people already. It's all in Romanian, unfortunately. It's all spoken in Romanian. Live webinars that I do for all the people who want to grow those skills back home. I have a playlist on YouTube, but the point is that I have a website. That's the point of the slide. I have a playlist on YouTube on which if you pay attention to those selected talks, you can find out most of my training curricula, because that's what I am really. I'm a trainer. I've been training for quite a lot. That's a lot of speaking. A lot of too much speaking. The point is, I teach Hibernate, Spring, Java 8, design patterns, architecture, domain-driven design, yeehaw, clean code, unit testing, TDD, and we will play a bit with it. let's get there first. A performance, Sky, I teach on O'Reilly, you know, with the big guys. But the point of this slide is that I post like a maniac. Not such good content like Mario here. I'm reposting what I'm retweeting. Look what thing I found. It's Mario. So, anyway, but I'm posting stuff. No, that's not for you, but that's just for me because it's all in Romanian yet. So names, I was saying that I'm a clean code maniac, so I needed to explain myself. I'm a clean code maniac. I have a diploma with. Lambdas mean anonymous functions, and we, the clean code maniacs, have a problem with anonymous. We love names that talk to us. That's why you should never have. You should never find this token in your code base. Never, ever, 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 ever. Whenever you see that, extract lambdas into methods that you reference with 4 dots, like we did. Remember? 2DTO? Simple as that. Good. In the same class, in the item class, is not deleted. Remember? Is not deleted. Or even maybe in another class, or a static method. You can play with it. Just reference them with 4 dots. Clean says 5 lines, shorter methods. And then, I know that some of you can implement an entire use case with one single instruction. You do return. You remember the example? Query, string. Don't do this. We have children. Don't do this. Don't do this. We beg. Instead, explain them with variables, methods, predicates. Explain them. Explain those long expressions. Clean code said no nullable parameter, because if you take a null parameter, the first thing you need to do is to check for null. And there is this principle, some of you may have heard, SRP, single responsibility principle, the S in solid principles, which says the function should do one thing, but if you do checks for null and the other thing, there are 2 things there too. So there are no nullable parameters. This translated to Java 8 means no optional parameters, right? What you do instead is map from the optional and apply your functions selectively. So clean code says avoid returning null. Prefer to throw exception if possible, because we didn't have any other tool. Because if you return a null to someone who doesn't expect a null, lady in red is dancing with. That's what you get, right? So in Java 8, the decision is simple. You return an optional, right? Like that. Very easy. Good. Don't be afraid of orcs, monads, or flat map. Don't be afraid of them. Passing a block, we just did that. We passed a function to another function like that. Or not that, but that was the point. And this might represent the funeral of template method, as we've seen today in training. Because template method is a class with an abstract method that you provide by subclassing. Instead of subclassing, you can pass in the missing function. Imagine that. There's a function. Yeah? And this leads us to the loan pattern, which is a flavor of the passing a block in which you work with a resource that is managed for you, like we did. We wrote to a string writer that we did not, to a writer that we did not create actually. Now, this is super cool because it decouples logic from infrastructure code. Do you remember? Do you use GDBC template query and then comes the row mapper? Okay. And the thing is, this was doable before. This is doable for the decade, okay? But with Java 8, it's better, okay? Shorter, nice. And maybe extract this block to a method and don't do this, don't do this. Why isn't it here? It shouldn't be here. Who did this? So make a method and reference the method, good? Now, executor, there's another thing. So there are 2 flavors. In your design, there can be two possibilities. One is that you want in a common bit of in a common chunk of logic to put one thing or another, okay? But you have the big chunk. The other way of going that is that you have some method that you want to run in a transaction. You see, you start from what you have inside and you wrap around it. It's a so-called of explicit AOP. You wrap it. Long live Quarkus. I'm not that much into that, but aspects plus Quarkus is different than love. How many of you know about Quarkus a bit? Yeah. I know from you, actually. But anyway, measure, and this is how you can measure how it takes for you to save a page, right? Just passing a lambda in. You get the point. Avoid checked exception. You should suffer If you work with non-runtime, it should suffer, which is good. But in case someone else throws checked exception to you, you can use Joule, I think that was the framework, to uncheck.consumer. We saw that thing, or sneak other things. No, we didn't do that. Thank you. That was all. Now, yeah, thank you. I'm not sure how is the local habit here, but I normally do two little talks. But there is pizza here, so of course now we'll eat pizza. But I will ask you again afterwards in half an hour, let's say, or 20 minutes, half an hour, if you want to do some more code, if you want to live code something, maybe some TDD example, just slow motion. Now, if there will be 10 of you remaining, we will end it. But if there is interest of that, we can stay longer. I'm not sure if you have families. I'm not sure how is the habit here. Not entirely sure. So now pizza, and I will ask you again in 30 minutes. What should we do? Okay? Good. Thank you.